Got to talk to our guy Zach, who's down at the studio right now.
Oh, yes, sir, Zach. Where
Zach
you at?
coming
Get him in
live.
here. You know,
What's
we got
up,
to see
man?
Zach. He got the zip. He zipped up, baby, right now. He always zipped, man. I love it.
Always coming Peyton Manning fresh. Zach, how are things down at the stadium? I know they never want to lose. I know it's not Club Dub, but how's the energy in the locker room right now?
Well, I got to tell you guys, it's not as good as the energy in the Toyota Lounge that you guys are bringing right now, but it's not as bad as Broncos Country's feeling. I know Broncos Country is disgusted by another 0-point first half, but inside the Broncos locker room, they're keeping the faith. They know they're 3-3. They know they've got a game on Thursday night, so they're honestly, as John Franklin Myers put it, they're ready to flush this one away and then get on to Thursday night, and that's what you have to do because this game was another stinker from the Broncos, and honestly the worst game that the Broncos defense has had this year. First half giving up 20 points. They allowed they allowed the Chargers to score on all 4 first half possessions. It was totally different, and it all started when Pat Surtain went down. Bo Nix throws an interception on the first drive, then Pat Surtain goes down on the next drive, and I was actually surprised. The locker room really put a lot of this on Pat going down. Not on Pat actually going down, but they said the defense, there was a cloud hanging over their head after Pat went down. They regrouped at halftime, and then we saw the normal Broncos defense in the second half, only giving up 3 points. And guys, honestly, the Broncos did make a comeback, but Sean Payton almost said it. It's a pretty empty comeback for the Broncos because we saw what the Chargers did. They just played prevent defense, keep everything in front of them. And so the Broncos were able to move the ball down the field, but really it was too little, too late. And it's just about moving on from this game and starting on New Orleans tomorrow.
Zach, real quick, do you have an update on Pat? Do we know how he's feeling, how he's doing? Is he healing up?
So good news and bad news. I just saw Pat on the field after the game, and he's doing okay, which is good to see him out here talking with his family members. So he's not doing as bad as he could, but unfortunately, he is in the concussion protocol, and I'm pretty sure that means he will not be able to play on Thursday night. I think it's impossible for a player to get through the concussion protocol by a Thursday game. I think the most he could do is practice on Thursday. So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see him. But I think there's also a chance that Chris Olave, the Saints' top receiver, does not play on Thursday as well. So that will kind of help even it out. But the Broncos, they're going to really be stepping and counting on Riley Moss to step up to be that top cornerback from the Broncos. Levi Wallace coming in. We also saw the Broncos use Jaquan McMillan, put him on outside cornerback. But the huge loss for the Broncos. And you could tell being in the locker room, it impacted this team in the first half, not just on defense, but on the offensive side as well. So the Broncos are going to need Pat back as soon as possible. Again, the good news is you're playing Spencer Rattler, a third-string quarterback this Thursday without Chris Olave. And then the following week, Pat should be back, but you're playing the Carolina Panthers, who are absolute trash. So Broncos lose this one, but they have 2 very, very winnable games coming up.
Awesome. I think that's big. Definitely. We're going to need those wins, Zach, so let's hope that they trash, right? Definitely.
Yes.
But Zach, one question I have. I was wondering how big of a turnover in the morale was over there when Javonte dropped that fumble. I feel like, that was a big momentum shift in the game. And how you think everything over there was going down?
Yeah, without a doubt, Jarrell. I mean, obviously, the rookie quarterback is going to have some mistakes occasionally. He hasn't had an interception in the past 3 games. He comes out the very first drive, throws that pick, and it's like, okay, not an ideal start, but we're going to move on. Defense holds him to 3 points, which was key. But then when Javonte has the fumble later in the first half, it's like, man, 2 turnovers to none right now. And it just felt like that was honestly the turning point in the game after Pat went out. And Javonte can't be doing that. And I thought Sean Payton made a very clear message after the game. He was asked about all of these young guys playing. Yeah, Troy Franklin catch a touchdown pass. Devon Bailey led the Broncos in receiving. Audric Estime had 2 carries. But after Javonte's fumble, Sean told us after the game, we're not redshirting any of these guys. And then he pinpointed one guy that he wants to see more out of. He said, I want more Estime. And I'm sitting there thinking, you make those decisions, Sean. You only gave him the ball twice. You need to get him more touches. And so I think on Thursday night, we're going to see Audric Estime get more touches. He just can't fumble because remember, his very first fumble, he leaped over a guy and then immediately fumbled. So he can't be doing that, but I do expect him to get more carries and be a bigger part of this offense. The Broncos running backs had 44 rushing yards. Now, I know they kind of had to abandon the running game, but you still cannot have your 3 running backs get 44 total rushing yards in a game. And again, they had to abandon it, but you only run the ball 3 times in the second half. Geez, if you were going to tell me that before this game, I would say, heck yeah, the Broncos are going to lose this game.
Definitely.
Zach, great to see you, my man. I'm wondering, what's the vibe like from the offensive lineman? You know, because we talk about the running game, and you're thinking about the running game, you're thinking about the pass game. What is the vibe, or what are you hearing from the offensive line in terms of how they perform today?
Well, they said it's all on the wide receivers. No, I'm kidding, Benny. They didn't say that. They said it's all on us. In fact, talked to John Franklin Myers after the game, defensive lineman. He said, we lost the game for the Broncos. We need to be better as a defensive line. And then the offensive line talked to Quinn Miners after the game, and he said the exact same thing about the offensive line. He said, we lost this game for the team. We need to step up. Bo Nix was sacked once, but guys, Bo Nix is holding on to the ball for way too long. And it's not all on Bo Nix, but that was one of the things that Bo was supposed to be great at, is getting the ball out quick. Well, he held on to the ball. It made the offensive line not look very good. And then also the receivers need to get open to help Bo out. And when there is a guy open, Bo needs to pull the trigger right away and throw that ball, because we saw him turn the back to the end zone way too many times today. He was looking the wrong direction, and that doesn't help the offensive line either. But like you said, Benny, it's not just on the running backs when they have 44 total rushing yards. It is the offensive line in total. And I'll tell you what, Sean Payton took a lot of blame on himself. He said, all of this starts with me. We need to look internally as well. And yeah, you better damn do that, because this is the 3rd game in 6 games. The Broncos have had 0 points in the first half. That's something that should happen like once every couple of seasons. The fact that with Sean Payton, who is an offensive genius, has had this happen in half of his games is completely unacceptable. And honestly, just that stat alone, it's lucky that the Broncos are 3-3 right now, but they are still in a good spot. They're 3-1 in their past 4 games. And again, guys, you got to beat the Saints playing Spencer Rattler this week. You got to beat the Panthers in 2 weeks in Denver, because the Saints just allowed, 51 points? Are you kidding me? The Broncos cannot get shut out in the first half this Thursday night. They can't. Okay, they can't, but they shouldn't.
Yeah, Zach, I really hope that the Broncos find a way to put up 51 points. I don't know if it's possible, but 15 in the first half I feel like would be good for me. But appreciate you, Zach. We'll let this one kind of go, because like you said, we want to rinse and get on to Thursday night. So I'll see you tomorrow in the morning. We'll have a lot to talk about, and hopefully we can move on to a win against the Saints.
Let's get it.
Right on,
great
fellas.
to see you, man.
Thanks for having me on. You guys are killing it. Best post-game show out there.
Much love. Much love.